Hey guys, red and black greetings. This is Flamengo recording my videos here, my news about Mengo with Atinho on my lap. Guys, Otto is wearing the Flamengo jersey. That's crazy. He's all dressed up in Flamengo gear. Let me show you here. Look here. Otto number 10, jersey number 10 from Gavia. My daughter doesn't let me have any peace. Let me have some peace. Let me have some peace. You can relax. Oh, my love, let me chill. Let me chill. So Atinho is here with me, man, to talk to you about an important situation. Please subscribe to the channel, enable notifications, and like the video. We're here, man, with important information about Flamengo, okay? Some things happened this afternoon, and I also have a really cool situation to share with you all. For those who haven't seen Alexandro's interview and Luis Araujo's interview, I think they're extremely worthwhile, man. Really great interviews. In this first pregame practice, right before the Club World Cup final, everyone is nervous, everyone is tense, right? With this World Cup final, we have some important information here. Paris Saint-Germain may have some important players returning against Flamengo. And I'll tell you this, man, I want to face them. I want to face Paris Saint-Germain at full strength. I don't know about you, but it would be really boring. For example, when Botafogo beat Paris Saint-Germain and people said they just beat Paris Saint-Germain's reserves. Or if Chelsea played against Flamengo with their reserves too. Whenever we said we beat Chelsea 3-1 and dominated, it could have been more. And then they'd say, oh no, but it was Chelsea's reserves. It was Chelsea's reserves. So I prefer to face the starting team. If we're going to be champions, let it be against the starters. Let it be against the full team. Flamengo isn't even at full strength. Pedro is still coming back, right? Slowly. Not even Flamengo is complete. So it's Dembele and Marquinhos who were questionable. They're with the Paris Saint-Germain squad in Qatar. However, according to Sport Television, the pair still aren't 100% physically just like Pedro, right? The French striker missed the last two games due to a virus. Meanwhile, the Brazilian defender injured his hip during the draw with Atletico Bilbao in the middle of last week. He was in the medical department. In fact, Marquinhos was absent against Metz in the match before the final. So, against Flamengo, is that it? On the other hand, the right back Hakimi is a confirmed absence. The player is almost fully recovered from an ankle injury. But the plan is for him to return only in January when he will play for Morocco in the Africa Cup of Nations. So Flamengo is facing Paris Saint-Germain, almost at full strength, right? We just need to see if Marquinhos and Dembele will play. But like I said, I prefer facing the full team. I like to play against the starting lineup. I like to measure Flamengo's strength. But if we're going to win, let it be against the starters. And if we're going to lose, let it be two, right? Yeah, let it be against their main team. There's no point in trying to avoid it, right? If we're testing our strength, let's do it for real. This is Flamengo. We shouldn't be afraid. We have to go after them no matter what. And I think, man, I'll be honest with you. I think Flamengo learned a lot. Flamengo really learned a lot, right, Filio? Flamengo learned a lot in that game against Bayern. The way Flamengo played can really serve as a lesson. Knowing you can't make mistakes against teams like Bayern or Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain beat Bayern, who beat Flamengo. Flamengo beat Chelsea, who beat Paris Saint-Germain. So in football, anything is possible. Man, okay, just look at the history there, right? Including looking at the Club World Cup, the history of the Libertadores champions, and all that. There are some interesting coincidences. First, we already told you that when the trophy breaks, right? The South American team wins the championship during the celebration. Corinthians and Flamengo both broke the trophy during their celebrations. And to top it off, every time Palmeiras is the runner-up in the Libertadores, the champion goes to the Club World Cup and comes back as the world champion. Unbelievable, right? Look at this coincidence. In 61, when Palmeiras lost to Penharol, who later ended up going to the Club World Cup. Of course, they beat Palmeiras for the Libertadores, then played Benfica, and guess what? The Penharol were champions in 61 against Benfica after beating Palmeiras. In 68, Palmeiras lost to Estudiantes. Estudiantes went to the Club World Cup and became champions over Manchester United in 2000. When Boca Juniors beat Palmeiras and then went on to defeat Real Madrid, that pattern was confirmed once again. Palmeiras runners-up to Boca Juniors. Boca Juniors went there and became champions in one of the rare times Real Madrid lost. A recent historic final in football, Estudiantes versus Boca, after getting past Palmeiras in the Libertadores final. Now, the story is repeating, Repeating again in 2025. Flamengo beat Palmeiras in the Libertadores final and will go to the Club World Cup to face Paris Saint-Germain. Just imagine, guys, that's what I'm telling you now. I'm going to show you an amazing image right now. It's impressive how much Danilo is rising. Images by Adriano Fontes and Gilvante Souza. Man, look at this. Look how high Danilo is jumping to head the ball in training. Look at this. Take a look at this, guys. Look at this image of Danilo. How high he jumps playing soccer with others at Flamengo's training. You guys will see the training footage in a bit. I set aside some images from the training and also from the mixed zone for you. Yeah, we had Filipe kicking the ball at the crossbar, man. It's important to mention Danilo's jump here, right? And it's been decisive. And Danilo was on the field against Chelsea, huh? It's a tough, hard match against the European team. Would the best option be for Danilo to start the game? What do you guys think? Comment. Here, I'd like to see your opinion about this, okay? I'm also bringing you another important piece of information regarding José Boto. I already said yesterday that José Boto would not leave Flamengo, that he told me he didn't want to leave Flamengo. I don't know if you remember that I spoke after the information from Fabrizio Romano, right? That whole story about European clubs being interested. I talked to Boto, and he told me, let's go for more now. That's what Boto said, right? Also about the interest from European clubs in Guilherme Flazuero, okay? We had already brought this information that he had already said that let's go for more. Now, he said the following. I've always worked in Europe. It's normal. European clubs know me. After a successful year like this, it's normal for this to happen now. That doesn't mean I won't renew with Flamengo. Everything is on track. We just haven't done it yet because we're here in Qatar. My agreement was a simple thing. Very easy, yes. I'm staying with Flamengo, okay? He's confirming what he told us yesterday. We're aiming for more titles with Flamengo, and he's telling Guilherme the same. That's now 2 Flamengo YouTubers. He's told he's staying with Flamengo. So Boto is continuing, right? He's already told 2 different people that he's staying with Flamengo. Everything's fine. He's going to renew. Filipe is going to renew too. So I think we should be calm, and we need to stay calm. Before we show the footage of Luis Araujo and Alexandro, right? The footage, their mixed zone over there at Flamengo's training, just to show you here, right? Before we show the mixed zone from Flamengo's training. Look at Otto's outfit. How beautiful. Look at that. Look how cool it is like this.
It's great to see Rodrigo Caio and Filipe Luis playing, doing his keepy uppies, but it's nice to see Rodrigo Caio right there. Look at Filipe. Look at Filipe's shot hitting the crossbar.
Look at the shot.
Okay, Filipe Luis hit the crossbar. What a phase, what a moment for our coach Filipe.
While he's training.
Rolling. Look, there's Rodrigo Caio with the guys. Joining the guys for soccer over there, right? That warm-up game.
On one hand, Paris Saint-Germain arrived yesterday. They're only going to have one game. On the other hand, Flamengo has been here longer and is already used to the field and time zone, which helps and is favorable.
I think it's a game more for Paris Saint-Germain. They're a great team. They're the current Champions League champions, the best team. Being here longer makes things a bit easier for us. We know it. We'll adjust to the time zone since Paris Saint-Germain isn't used to it. No, I'm personally having trouble with sleep and everything due to the time difference. But being here longer, of course, it helps a little. We're used to the field, but we know it's going to be a very tough game. As I always say in interviews, nothing is impossible for Flamengo.
Luis, Paris Saint-Germain has already lost to a Brazilian team this season, which was Botafogo at the Super Mundial. But Botafogo played with a very different style than what Flamengo is used to. Even recalling Filipe before the Bayern match saying Flamengo wouldn't change its DNA or convictions. What we can expect for this game might be a Flamengo that's more like Bayern than just a posture. Botafogo against Paris.
I think the Botafogo game against Paris Saint-Germain is a different competition, totally different from what happened there. It was a group stage match. Now it's the final. It's a well-studied tactical game. We know that. I think that just like Filipe always played, we're not going to change our way of playing. We know we need to be more careful since the world's best players are on the other side. So we're going to go in the same way we've been playing, but with a bit more, I think, intelligence. We can't make mistakes on defense, and I'm sure we'll play a great game. And if God blesses us, we'll come up with this victory, which is the dream of the whole nation.
Luis, Flamengo is facing its third European team this year after playing Chelsea and Bayern. Now it's Paris Saint-Germain. What is the main lesson you take from these last games against the European teams?
For this Wednesday's match, like I said, we can't make mistakes. They're high-level players. The best players will be on the field, both from our side, Flamengo, and from Paris Saint-Germain. The good thing about having played other games is that we come out with experience. We know that against Bayern we made some mistakes and that was crucial for the defeat, so we're going to try to minimize those errors. Go in 100% focused and, God willing, come out with this title, which, as I always say, is the dream of all of us.
Luis, today's interview wasn't even really planned. Flamengo staff said you were chosen for your strong year. You and Rossi played the most, appearing in 57 matches. How do you evaluate your year, and what is it like for you to have played so much, but at this key point in the season, you're on the bench more than starting?
I'm very happy about this moment in the season, and for the season I've been having wearing Flamengo's jersey. It's the highest scoring year of my career and the one with the most assists. I usually say it's the best year of my career, but right now I'm on the bench. But I consider myself a very important player, a very decisive player, especially in moments like this, in such an important game. I'm sure Filipe can count on me that I'll be ready. I'm not sure if I'll start, since Filipe doesn't reveal the lineup before games. But whether I start on the bench or in the starting lineup, I'll be prepared. I'm sure I'll keep helping Flamengo just as I have from the start.
Filipe, Luis,
Luis.
last week Luis Henrique said he didn't want to face Flamengo, that he preferred to face Pyramide. In the weekend game in the French Championship, he rested most of the team. Do you think that everything that's been happening, his statement, his decision to rest the team, shows how concerned he is about Flamengo? And it adds even more spice to this final?
I think it's a final and everyone wants to win. And if we could choose two, we didn't want to face Paris Saint-Germain, but we had no choice since they were already in the final. Everyone knows how great Flamengo is, thanks to the fans, of everything we've been doing this year, of what we also left behind at that World Cup in the United States. We've had great achievements, and we're also doing very well physically and mentally. And of course, when the team starts winning and that turns into achievements, it makes us even stronger. But we know that Paris Saint-Germain is the clear favorite. They're the best team. But we're going to keep our feet on the ground and play the soccer we know how to play. If God wills, we'll be blessed and end up with a great team.
Thank you very much.
I wanted you to comment on your partnership with Danilo over all these years. The possibility of winning another title alongside him, and him being decisive after all this time. I wanted you to comment a little about your teammate over there.
If you start discussing your partnership with Danilo, we'll be here all afternoon. There's so much to cover. As everyone already knows, we're great friends, so we've considered each other family for a long time. Having Danilo on the same team as me has always been really great. Because he's not only a great player, but also a great person. With his leadership, his experience, and his humility, he always helps his teammates, always helps
The club.
in general. He has always been an important person wherever he went, and it's no different now. And we have a winning history, and I hope that history continues.
Speaking of Paris Saint-Germain, this is the type of game an athlete wants to play, arriving at the toughest moment. I was going to ask you, Brazilian, at that moment, did you talk to Marquinhos about anything? Is he going to play or not? Did you talk to Berardo? Do you guys know each other, or at that moment, do you not talk?
First of all, there are a lot of players in the group who have already played this kind of game, so it's a normal game, in quotes, for many players too. And obviously for Flamengo, it becomes more special because it's a game against a European team. There's not nervousness, but maybe there's something extra for this game. You can notice that in our daily routine that we're getting more and more focused, maybe a little more anxious, but also confident. So I think for this game, I see a team, a group that's really well prepared. Alex, anyway, I haven't talked to Marquinhos yet. Let that play out on the field. Alex,
Maybe you guys don't realize the magnitude of what you can achieve, especially because of the low attendance at the games. But just so you have an idea, for example, Rio de Janeiro declared an optional holiday on Wednesday so people can watch the game. So it's
like
how does this get to you, right? Because in Brazil, the mobilization is really big. For this game,
we know the importance of this game. It's a historic game, right? It could be a milestone in everyone's career here if we win this game. We know that Flamengo's fans they are even more anxious than us, the players themselves, not just Flamengo's fans, but all of Brazil. I think most of Brazil is supporting Flamengo for this game. And knowing this news, it's always good to hear that all of Brazil, especially Rio de Janeiro, is with us.
Alexandre, in the past year, Flamengo added several players with European experience, right? So it's you, Danilo, Saul, and Jorginho, all with top-level experience now, right? Commitments against Paris Saint-Germain, for example, add up for you to face a final of this size, and how do you also help the rest of the squad, right? Also, knowing Paris Saint-Germain will play in such a big game.
I had already given some other interviews. Congratulations to Flamengo's managements, not just this one, but the previous one as well. Also for the signings, for the structure they built. Not just with the players, but with other professionals as well. I've already had the experience of playing against Paris a few times, of playing against many players who are on the roster. I know the difficulty that these players and this team pose to their opponents. However, we are prepared in our own game to face Paris Saint-Germain or any other team. DNILO, what is this, man?
You talked about the difference, right? About this week, these days, leading up to a final like this. You're a very experienced player. You spent many years in Europe, but when you're about to step onto the field and play a final for Flamengo, do you still get butterflies? Do you still feel that thing as if you were a youth player making your debut? It's different even for someone with your experience and history of playing big games.
It's always, when it comes to a final, you're always going to have those butterflies. I hope it stays that way until the end of my career, because those butterflies are what make you feel alive for the game, for our training sessions, for our daily routine. But it's not just the players who played in Europe. The players who have always played in Brazil are experienced too. They've been through a lot with Flamengo, and there are many players who are much more experienced than I am. If we're talking about Flamengo, and everyone reaches this stage sharing their experience and knowledge with each other, I think that through this, we see the trust we have in each other, and I'm sure everyone will be 100% ready for this challenge. Flamengo players starting the famous run around the field during Monday's training session here at Al Horsal Training Center in the Al Hayyan district in Doha, Qatar. The red and black players are going to pass right by us. Look at Wallace trying to nutmeg the fitness coach. Smart player here with coach Filipe Luis. Look at Pedro right there in the middle, Pedro Guilherme, the striker Reverencia. Look, together with the group. The guys are doing that famous run on the field. And does Sebastian want to nutmeg someone? Is Sebastian eager to nutmeg someone? That was Wesley's job, right? He liked to nutmeg people. But when he left Flamengo, Wallace ended up taking over that role. Flamengo was done and Saul was hitting Rossi. What a moment. The atmosphere is so light here. Where Varela is such a light atmosphere here at Taina, Domingo, Varela. Actually, it wasn't Luis Araujo there. The Flamengo players here. Tomorrow they will have their last training session before the match against Paris Saint-Germain, before the last game of the season, which is the Intercontinental Cup final. Look, there's Jorginho over there. Jorginho will secure his place in football, while here they're dividing into groups. Look, Arasca is teasing Saul. There's going to be a soccer match with her foreign guys, Cruz, Varela, and Arrascaeta against Saul Pulgar and Jorge Carrascal. And over there is Flamengo's technical football director, José Boto, talking with Rodrigo Paiva and another member of Flamengo's football department. While the players are playing soccer, just a reminder that Flamengo's squad had the day off yesterday, right? Last Sunday, the players walked here in Dorno, Qatar. We know that some players were at Souk Waqif. Wow, Michael really got Bruno Henrique. There were players at Souk Waqif, right, which is like our little hangout spot. He got hit in the face, which is one of the traditional markets here in Doha, just like athletes in the desert, right? Leo Pereira, Leo Ortiz, the guys took the day to go out and have fun. Look, they're hanging out. Look at Rodrigo. The guy didn't feel confident enough to save it. And Filipe. All the skill of Professor Filipe Luis. A real pro, right? Tremulo. Great at juggling, Professor Philly. Luis Samuroyal. Luis saved it out.